Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you might be. Dale's already in here, so hello, Canada. First one in. Welcome to the Studio Q Show Live. My name's Quinn Jacobson, and we're going to be doing some show and tell today, I think. We're going to be doing some, showing some work. Hopefully people will get in here. I need to send this link out here. And for some reason, I can't get the my regular show to show up here. Dale, are you still in here? Yeah, you're there. Okay, good.
Sorry, I'm having lunch, man. I thought it'd be rude to eat my sandwich on screen.
No worries. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can get this link sent out here.
Yeah, I was having problems, Quinn. I couldn't link through until you, or I couldn't go live until you linked me through on the invitation.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I just send out all of those invitations, so we should be good. They'll start showing up here in a second, I'm sure.
Okay, I'm going to mute out here again for a second, if you don't mind.
No worries. No worries.
Time for your oration.
There you go. Oh, we're going to send some links out here. Hopefully we'll get people in here. Sometimes, yeah, it's kind of a crapshoot. I don't know why my system isn't giving me the access. They usually let me send them out as, you know what? I'll post this link over on the What Collodion Facebook page. You can find it there. So if someone asks, tell them it is on the Wet Plate Facebook page. Oh, yeah. Wet Plate Collodion. The show is live.
I know the problem.
What?
There's a little bird landing on your shoulder.
There's a little bird landing on my shoulder?
Oh, you didn't hear about Bernie last night.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I did too. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was great, wasn't it? See, Mark Hickman just asked for invite. God, this is really weird. They've got some screwy stuff going on with this system, because normally I can just come in and invite everyone in one big, like, one click, and it's not working like that today. I don't know why. We'll have to see. Invitation posted. So if we get the guys in here today, if not, no big deal. It's, you know, I'm used to this kind of stuff. If people don't show up to do their thing, there is plenty to talk about and plenty to do. So I'm not concerned with content. I just want to get the show on the road. If we're going to do something, we want to do it sooner than later. See what else. We were talking about showing work. Good morning or good afternoon, Mark. How are you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Good, good. Just trying to get the wheels of technology turning here.
Absolutely.
Get everybody in. I don't know why I can't mass invite from the show itself. I normally do that. That's why we're a few minutes late this morning, but I can't get the system to go in to give us a full invite spectrum. I wonder if I can. Give me just a second, guys. I'm going to try to go over to Google Plus and get everyone invited into here. Because I know we have a whole bunch of people that want to come in. Yeah, I don't know why I can't. I don't know why I don't have this. My circles available, and even extended circles.
Oops.
Who knows? We'll get it. Huh? They let me do that on one side, but not in the live show. So circles. Huh? No, they won't let me mass email out this morning, guys. So we might have to do this one at a time. Let's see. I put the link on the Facebook page. Okay, so Philip is in here now. So there are people that I haven't sent the link to that are coming in now. So maybe just give it a few minutes. Good morning, everybody. How you doing, Barbara? It's good to see everyone.
Morning.
Good. We'll see if we can do a little show and tell this morning and have you guys show some of the work and let people give you some feedback and any questions you might have. I know there's a couple of technical things that people wanted to do. If there's time after we're finished with this, I'd be happy to do some of the technical stuff. But I'd rather look at photographs and see if we can make something like that work. So it was. We had a big blizzard here in Denver the other day. Shut the entire city down. Shut the Denver International Airport. It's one of the busiest airports in the country. It's the biggest international, I believe, but it shut Denver down for 7 or 8 hours. The airport, like 1,000 flights were canceled. I mean, it was literally a blizzard, a horizontal 40-mile-an-hour wind snowstorm. So we had one beautiful day yesterday, and now we've got the snow coming back today. But it's a typical spring weather here in Colorado. I think it's that way. Good morning, Jan.
Good morning. Hello,
Good
everybody.
afternoon. I'm sorry. Wherever you're at in the world, I didn't even do an introduction today, so I don't know if it caught it on there live. But yeah, we're gonna let a few people roll in here, and we'll get some feedback. Let you guys show some of your work and get some feedback. I'm interested to see how people respond, the questions they might have, some of the questions you might have for them, and talk a little bit about making collodion photographs as projects, as however we want to describe that. So let's wait for another 5 minutes or so, and we've almost got a full house here in the live show in the video feed, and so we'll give them another few minutes here, and then Jan, would you like to go first? Do you want to start today off, since it's afternoon in Czech Republic and it's morning time in America, and we're just waking up?
Yeah, I would like to start as the first person, if I may.
Yeah, let's wait until 20 after, and let anybody else get in here. Any of the viewers come in. It's early for some folks, so I understand. We'll just let them trickle in here. You guys can kind of prepare your stuff. There is a feature you can use in these Google Hangouts. It's screen share, and it's if you roll over to the left of your window on the screen there, on the left of inside the Google Hangouts window, you can click screen share, and you can actually show your entire screen or just the Google Hangouts, whatever you want to do. So if you want to use that, you're more than welcome, or you can do it analog style and do this kind of thing. Hold it up, you know?
Might have to.
Yeah, that's fine. No problem if they're not digitized. Hey, as we're waiting, has anyone ever seen this? This is what I use in my workshops. Actually, I have. It's kind of interesting. If Tim or Jenny comes in, they were just here for a workshop a few days ago. They can kind of talk about this. But I have a little little quiz. I call it an assessment quiz, assessment analogy, or assessment quiz. How about this, guys? I should post this somewhere and let you guys. You know, the problem with doing it online is people can just, people can Google some of this stuff. I like to give it to them analog style. That's what reminded me. I take this paper. If you ever, has anyone here been, Aaron? Hello, Aaron. Good afternoon. Aaron on the left or your right. Nicholas. Good afternoon. I was just going to say, has anybody ever been in one of my workshops? And Aaron was in one in Sweden, so it was a little different there. But here I do a little analysis, and part of that is understanding some of the chemistry and understanding some of the halogens. And so, for instance, let's see if well, yeah, we've got a couple more minutes. Let's see if anybody can answer some of these. How about this one? Number 11. Number 11. What does metathesis or double decomposition mean? How about that one? Anybody know that one? Those are kind of fun. What is a plasticizer in the process? Name a plasticizer. No? Okay. What do the iodides do in the process? Anybody?
Plasticizer, is it lavender oil?
Okay, Jan's right. Yes, that's the plasticizer. Sorry, we went back to number 12. The plasticizer is the lavender oil in the gum sandarac or in the varnish you use, whatever you use for a varnish. That plasticizer keeps sandarac or the sap flexible. That's why they call it plasticizer. I'm getting a little bit of. Yeah, there we go. So the plasticizer is the lavender oil in the gum sandarac or whatever kind of varnish you use. It keeps the sandarac or the sap flexible. What do the iodides do in the process? Anybody know what the iodides do? Any ideas what the iodides might do?
Yeah, they bind the silver to make silver halides.
That's one. That's what happens to the iodide. So you end up with this silver iodide, or this is iodine, but this is a halogen. So you end up with one of the. You end up with that. But what do the iodides actually give you in the process? So there's two ideas about this. Oh man.
Contrast, maybe.
Yeah, contrast and speed, right? ISO, if you can claim that. Contrast, though, you understand that because contrast really is what gives you, for all intents and purposes, the density, right? I mean, when we're I'm thinking length-wise, but when you look at that, iodides, AGI plays a bigger role. AGBR, the bromine, play a big role, but a small role in the case of visuals. So people are asking for the link here. So Roger, hold on, guys, sorry. Man, 35 minutes tried to contact me for the thing. I can't believe this. Hold on, guys, I gotta send out more invites here.
Quinn, can you mute Craig? I think the culprit here for all the feedback.
Yes.
Sorry, Craig.
Christine. There we go. Okay. All right, and then anyway, okay, we've got it here. Let's go ahead and I was just trying to kill some time, but I didn't need to because we've got all these technical issues. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to mute myself. I'll turn the floor over to Jan. Jan wants to start. The best way to pursue this, I believe, would be to have the presenter give us some context about the work. Tell us what your ideas and what you're thinking about, and if it's a work in progress, if it's pretty established and you're just trying to finish it, or give us some idea, some baseline that we can work off of. And then show us the images, and then ask or open it up if you want. Your call, whomever's showing their work. You can ask the panel or the people in, even chat. There's a lot of people in chat. Ask them anything you might want to ask, or open it up for them to ask you questions. I'm gonna stay out of it until I can engage. I want you guys to engage with it. I'm probably going to be sending out one at a time, because that's what it looks like right now. One at a time invites to get in here. I'm just sending them out as we talk. I couldn't do a mass mailing this morning, so that's why everybody's asking me one at a time. So, Jan, it's all you. I'm going to mute myself and.
Okay. So, hello everybody. I have prepared just let's say few or some pictures what I have created on Wetplate Collodion. It's about, let's say, 5 minutes presentation. So it's I have used my website because I have there some pictures which are there separated into some sets, and each set represents some collection of images which are connected together with some, let's say, behind story. So I will present you on my screen, which I now will be shared, hopefully. Yeah, it looks so. I think you can see now the screen, isn't it? I think.
Yes, you're good to go, Jan. Go.
Yeah, and at the beginning of my journey with Wetplate Collodion, I've started to simply make some documentation of my things which are surround of me or close to me. A few years ago, I bought an old house and I started to reconstruct it. Yeah, and this first collection of images represents this reconstruction. Yeah, the first picture is ambrotype on the left side. It's collection of old, let's say, square things which I have found on the floor and close to my old house, and I collect them together. It's originally it's 5 by 7 inches ambrotype, and yeah, I found it like good things to compose them together and create some shape or some collection of square shapes, something like that. It was my idea to have it for me as a for let's say documentation of my things which are now not in my house, now are there somewhere away, are not existing. Maybe, yeah, it's somewhere in the rubbish bin, maybe. Yeah, and the second picture is also made during my reconstruction. It's made with projection lens, and yeah, it's I have simply stopped my work and took this picture I think 3 or 4 years ago in my garden. Next picture is also about some fragments. I call it fragments. It's very old chimney, maybe 100 years old chimney, which was destroyed and is lying in the garden. And I've tried at that time also create this how to call it in English correctly, cloud, or what is coming out of chimney. Yeah,
yes,
it is made.
smoke,
yeah,
smoke or exhaust. Yeah, it looks like a cigarette.
yeah. It was made with you know this trick with aluminum. Yeah, to move with aluminum there. You have it on some wire, and if you have long exposure, then that wire is not visible. Yeah.
Yes. Jan, let me clarify, because I appreciate anyone that tries to come in English, and we have all these idioms. What Jan is talking about, he's created this smoke that's coming out of the stack. He's created this smoke by taking crumpled up aluminum foil and putting a wire in it, and then moving it during the exposure. You can create a smoke-like effect. So that's what he's done here. He's taken aluminum or aluminium foil, crumpled it up, put a wire on it, and then moved it during the exposure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you very much. And I've also tried sometimes to paint this ambrotype only partially. The scan is not good, but if you see it with your own eyes, these parts which are something between white and gray color are originally not painted with a black paint. So it looks, let's say, more different than common ambrotype if you completely cover the backside with a black paint. Yeah, it was just one of ideas to create something which what looks differently. Yeah, so this is the reason. And on the right side, there are some old tools what I used or still have somewhere in my house, and I use them for my work. Some of them are very old, and at that time, 2 maybe 3 years ago, I was very proud on the technical quality of this ambrotype, because it was very good exposed, and also the details are very nice, and I like it a lot from the technical point of view, this ambrotype. So this is one collection. Yeah, the second one is something, I call it something from my garden. It was also taken, or maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, I can see 2013 ambrotype, and I took these 2 ambrotypes just for myself to try to make some composition of this wooden ball, or how to call it. One is more closer lying simply, or in the middle of some leaves, and the second one is such a composition just to try, because I was curious about this background, which is one. It is I cannot describe it good in English, but it is simply one. Let me check it. It is a wood which is called.
Are you talking about the foliage in the background, the ivy?
Yeah, I'm talking about the background of this picture. It is about.
Yeah, we call that in English. We call that plant ivy.
Ivy, yeah, thank you. Yeah, and it creates quite interesting background. Yeah. So this is the second one, and then I've tried also to make salt prints of next. I wouldn't call it negative, because at the beginning 2 or 3 years ago I tried to make my first negatives, and we know how difficult it is to create very good negative with density and contrast to produce perfect salt prints and other for instance, albumin prints.
Yes,
so it was my first.
You're absolutely correct. We call those printing out papers, pop paper, for short.
This is also some salt print made made from small negative, which was taken with Hasselblad. It is 5 by 5 or almost 6 by 6 centimeters negative, and I've also tried to make a salt print from it. Yeah. So that's one or second selection of my pictures. The next collection is about shoes. I like to take shoes, old shoes, and the first is about some composition also in my garden, and I simply, if I have some spare time, I simply look for some old shoes and create some composition from them and create a picture. I like this one. It is tin type taken with Hasselblad, and I like it a lot. It was very cold weather, maybe 3 years ago, and I took these old shoes of my father and simply put them on the snow, and create this tin type outside. I like it a lot. It's my favorite picture. And also this one, also shoes from my father. I like it also a lot. Technically, it's not so good, but at that time, it was one of my best pictures from technical point of view. And I also like the composition. I simply put these old shoes, maybe, how old are they? Maybe 30 or 40 years old. I do not know exactly. And it's taken outside in my garden, and I like it. Really, this is one of my favorite pictures.
Jan, is your father still alive?
Yes, my father will be this year 78 years old. And this composition of two Hasselblad small plates, I call it simply mother and daughter. On the left side, you can see this. How do you call it in English? This rubber. These shoes made of rubber. If you are in the rain.
Yeah, rubber. We call them rubber boots or galoshes or rubbers. The Brits call them rubbers.
Yeah, rubber boots from my girlfriend on the left side, and on the right side are rubber boots from my daughter. And it is also composed in my garden, and you can see there leaves, some leaves, and these shoes are in the simply hanging on some parts of this tree. How it is called in English? This I've forgotten, the vine rapes, or how it.
Ivy or grape leaves.
Grape leaves, yeah, and it is hanging simply so in this composition, and I took these two plates, for myself to have documentation of these two shoes of my girlfriend and my daughter. And the last one, what I also like, are also old shoes of my father, also taken with Hasselblad, outdoor. You can see, when you see it more in detail, how the shoes are used. Now they are without the backside. They are cut with some.
Yeah. Jan, Barbara muted you. Hold on a second. I guess she was tired of listening to you. Jan, you're going to have to unmute yourself.
Okay. It was wittingly or not? To can I continue, or it's too boring?
No. Start again. We just had a little technical glitch there. You
Okay.
went on mute. Start again when you talked about where the shoes were cut out. Your father's shoes, the back of the shoes.
Yes. Yeah, I've said that you can use these shoes if you run outside, you put them quickly on and run outside and then run back. Yeah,
In English we call them slippers.
Slippers. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Now they also does not exist or do not exist anymore. It's also in somewhere in the rubbish bin, and yeah, it's about documentation of these shoes to have them forever on one plate. The next part is about something different. It's about composition of trophies of my father. This one is how it is called in English. Is because I have found different words for it. We call it
say antelope.
Deer or
deer.
Yeah. It's deer. It looks a little bit strange for me because I put two flowers in the middle instead of real eyes. Yeah. If I think about this picture back, maybe for some people it can look like a fake, or they maybe don't like this kind of composition. Maybe in the future I would take this picture without the flowers. But anyway, it exists, and at that time it was my idea to create it, and I have focused it on the front side on these flowers, and yeah. It was taken outside without any artificial light, because mostly I take only pictures outside without special lighting techniques. The next picture also taken outside are these fishes, this catfish, or how do you call it in English? Yeah, catfish.
Yes,
yeah, also trophies of my father. Sorry, this is also one of them. Frontal picture, or how to call it, taken from front side, focused on the small teeth and small eyes. Yeah, and this one, I like this picture. It looks yeah, like a beast. Like you can imagine everything. If you look on that plate, you can see there a beast, a fish, or something like a how to call it, some dragon. You can maybe see, but this fish is you know, this fish is.
I would say it's a piranha.
It's eel, yeah.
Oh, eel.
I do not know. Eel, yeah, eel. Okay, it's about trophies, and then I have some portraits of people. My first try 3 or 4 years ago was to take some tintype outside. Technical quality is not good, but I like that they exist, because these pictures are pictures of my relatives. On the right side, you can see my daughter Olivia. It was cold weather. I had only small box to develop this small plate there, and it was my first experience to create some wet plates outdoor. My first try. In the middle is also one of my relatives. It's my how do you call, niece, or it's daughter of my sister. Is better said.
Yes,
Niece. Yeah,
that's correct.
his niece. Yeah, niece and her sister Adela. I like it because yeah, she looks so yeah, like an adult. But at that time she was maybe 10 years old or something like that. But she looks really like much older. It has a different, completely different impression if you look at ambrotype and see this small girl or little girl in person. Then I have some portraits. This portrait is portrait of my father, taken I think 2 years ago. Also in our garden. Here you can see this part of pictures which were used in my compositions. This composition is about 10 seconds, taken with Brasslands franchise or français, how to call it, I do not know exactly. Rapid rectangular lens. Aperture is about 8 f8, and my father was standing there for 10 seconds. I like it because it looks very good for 10 seconds without any headrest on anything, any support of his head or something like that. And with his very old axe, which he holds with his hand. This exits some history. It's from his grandfather, maybe 100 years old. So it was for me some documentation of my father and some historical things behind. So then I've created also some pictures for myself for creation to get more to be more in practice with collodion. It was this picture is father of my girlfriend, and outside taken in winter, -4 Celsius outdoor. As you can see, there was a problem with developer because all was very cold. Also my chemicals were very cold. Taken outdoor was very difficult to create this plate outside, but
Yeah. Can I make a comment on that? If you look at this photograph, and I was going to ask him who he was, and he said this is his girlfriend's father. It's really interesting as I look at this photograph and see this portrait. It's a strong portrait for one thing, right? But he's in this white light, kind of like your father a little bit. But these developer suites here, see, I'm big into family genealogy and genetic memory and history. These look like a family tree. These roots coming out of it over his shirt, it looks exactly like a graphic from a family tree kind of object. This is a kind of serendipity, this kind of how do you call it? The happy accidents going along in the theme of what you're working in. To recognize something like that and not call it out as a technical flaw in this case, I mean, it is a technical flaw, but in this case, it really enhances these kinds of ideas you're talking about family, about balance, about hanging, about the role of your family. I mean, I think that's an interesting. Those are the kind of technical issues that you can really leverage when they happen if they're appropriate. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you very much.
Ah, sorry, Jan. I screwed up. Unmute yourself. Sorry. I screwed up, Jan. Will you unmute yourself? I can't unmute you.
Okay, sorry. I wanted to say just a few words to this picture, or in general, I do not like pictures where the people are smoking, especially women. For me, it is cliche, and simply this is my personal opinion. But really, I do not like to have a picture or look at picture at all on people with cigarettes. But it was exception, because behind story is that father of my girlfriend is a smoker. Yeah, that's true, and he smokes. So that's the reality. And he was waiting outside because I was preparing my plate, and outside was really very cold, and he was smoking this cigarette. And my original idea was to take his picture without cigarette. But he was standing there and smoking, and the cigarette was almost finished. Then I took to myself, so please let's have this cigarette, because it looks really, let's say, yeah, it represents that moment. Yeah. So he was standing, like you can see him there, outdoor, -4 or 5 Celsius, the temperature, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the reason why he has his cigarettes in his mouth. So let's look for yeah. This is one of my favorite selfie, if I may call it like selfie. This word is not one of my favorite words, but it's really a self-portrait of me with my cat called Lisa. It took about 1 hour to catch my cat, to prepare everything before I was able to take this plate. This plate is 8 by 10 inches, taken with my Kodak 2D camera. And I really love it, because to have a possibility prepare your camera to sit outdoor, to prepare your camera to push the button, yeah, with that ball you can see in my left or right hand, and that the cat was prepared for this picture. She did not move with her head. Sorry, creates for me really one of my best picture ever. Yeah, some people told me that they can't see my face. It was deliberately, wittingly made to make this picture with that cap, because my bald head would overexpose this picture. And the main purpose was simply to show off my cat. Yeah, and my idea was to have self-portrait with my cat, but the main subject in this picture is my cat. I'm behind of it. So I'm very proud on this picture. Maybe you will like it too.
Very difficult to make photographs of animals, Jan. That's a very rarely. If you ever come across the 19th century collodion image of a very sharp animal, a cat or a dog or whatever, in a studio environment, those are rare, and they're very collectible, because animals just won't stay still for that amount of time.
Exactly, and therefore I'm so proud on it, because it was really very hard to make it. Yeah. And I'm also very proud on this picture of my friend. Yeah, also taken outdoor, -5 Celsius temperature in February last year, and I was very proud, or I am very proud on it. It was taken with rest of very old, unpredictable developer. I had only one shot and one possibility to create it, because I had no more at that time, no more developer for next picture, and I created only with one attempt, and this is the result. I'm very proud on it because everything was yeah, unexpected, and the result was very good for me. Yes, to see his face looking somewhere in clouds, also taken outdoor without any other lighting techniques, any artificial light. So this is Borut Peterlin. Maybe you know him. It's one of my role models, like you, Queen. Borut Peterlin is great guy who works who has been working with collodion for maybe 5 or 7 years, maybe longer. He's very good friend for me, a person who loves photography. He's professional photographer, lives in Slovenia, and if you search for his name or look on his blog, borutpeterlin.com, where is linked to his blog, you can find very interesting videos and his journey with wet plane collodion. This picture was taken in Netherlands during European Collodion Weekend 2013, and I'm very proud on it to have a possibility to take this picture of him. Yeah, Borut Peterlin, highly recommended wet plate photographer. And this is one of my first picture taken on black glass. It's one interesting person from Czech Republic who helps freelancers to build up their business. I'm also proud on it. And this is also one of my friends, DJ, taken outdoor, technically not so good, but I like this. He's DJ. It's maybe something which is connected with his creativity. But yeah, honestly, technically, I'm not so satisfied with the result. It was during hot weather outdoor, and yeah, that's it. Like this. This is something little different. I like it I very like this expression of that young guy. Also taken outdoor in February, cold weather, frozen, and he was standing like a statue outdoor without any headrest or something, like supporting his body and head for a few seconds. I'm very proud on this picture. I like his expression in his face. And this is picture made during last summer. This is my one of my friend, and also one of my friend outdoor. This is my girlfriend, also outdoor, taken in winter during very cold weather. And this is not so good technically from technical point of view, but I had only one chance to take this beautiful girl during European Collodion Weekend with the rest of my chemicals, which was not prepared for such a hot weather conditions, lots of fog on this plate, and I've lost some collodion. And then 2 pictures of my nieces, also one of my friend or friend of my daughter also. And this is my first plate, 24 by 30 centimeters, something like 10 by 12 inches, with my next camera outdoor, my daughter with her friend. And this is a very special picture with some background story which is described on my website. I will not tell the whole story, but simply the picture was taken just for information on a very thick glass from my fireplace. Yeah. And it was broken, that glass. I cut simply part of that glass and create an ambrotype on it. Yeah. So it is a special material which was used for this picture. And also one of my last pictures, my daughter and her friends. These two girls are sisters with my daughter. And my daughter Olivia, this is the picture I have made a few months ago. Technically, I'm very satisfied with it, with her guitar. So, at last, and sorry if I may show you one of my most important part of my life with wet plate collodion. It's simply idea to take pictures of my daughter on wet plates. The first part are taken with a 6 by 9 centimeters camera. Olivia with how it's called, this devil, Tasmanian devil, yeah. And the second one, there is some fog, yeah, which was on this tin type created. Technically, you can see at that time I was at the beginning, and I was very satisfied that I have something on the tin, yeah, at all, yeah. So it was really at the beginning, maybe 2012 or 13 when I started. Then if we simply go more, or not so slow, but a little bit swiftly, I will show you pictures of Olivia in our garden. Now Olivia taken just simply for my first attempts to create some wet plate with my Hasselblad. This is a tin type picture. My tests with artificial light, with speed light. Olivia in the middle. I'm on one side of that picture with flashlight. Maybe 2 or 3 times I started the flash to have this picture. Also, Olivia was my subject for my tests with speed lights indoor. This is outdoor, one of my first tin types, 2012. Also outdoor, Olivia with roses. It is part of my series with roses. This is the next one, and also with roses. Olivia with her first teeth, my documentation of her teeth, and 2 pictures also during summer in our garden. Also this one, and my self-portrait with Hasselblad ambrotype during World, how it's called, this World Cup in Brazil it was, and I found this very old T-shirt and very old collodion and made this picture with Olivia for myself during this championship. And composition, Olivia with my Hazelblad, overexposed. I know it was really hot weather, and my only one attempt to make one plate with Olivia. Now I know how to make it better. This is quite good exposed. I think it's nicely done outdoor during summer. Olivia also holding some things in her hands. I like this picture. I have to say this is picture. I have sold original ambrotype to one collector who liked it a lot. Now I am very sad that I had to sell it because I have only digital copy of it. It's not digitally retouched. You can see some artifacts on it. I think I speaking about that dust on it. Normally I of course do not remove any other things from the plate. I scan it and simply remove that dust to have it as a digital copy. Yeah, that's all. That's the last picture what you have seen at the beginning of this Olivier's presentation. Thank you very much for your time, and
well, thank you, Jan. That was wonderful. I think people want to chime in on this. Anybody, you can dictate however you want to do it. You want to have people make comments. You have questions. You have something for the panel, or do you just want to open it up and let people comment on what they've seen?
Okay, thank you again. It was my presentation of my work from the past. In front of me now, I wanted to say that I'm partially or maybe fully prepared to work as a photographer in the future. Maybe you know it from my last hangouts. We have spoken about it. I've started my business now as a photographer, and I have to now be presented as a professional photographer. In the past, I've sold some of my work just to have some earning from it, but now I would like to discuss with you also in future some tips and tricks how to be prepared for this not easy business, how to promote your work, how to behave as a professional photographer.
So
you know,
the question, Jan, is I think you have to distinguish. I think it's really important for you to define when you say you want to work as a photographer, or you're going to work as a full-time photographer, a professional photographer is the word you use. I think it's really important that you define what kind of photographer you're talking about. Is it a commercial venture? Do you want to work for commercial products and corporations and entities? Or do you want to make personal work, your personal fine art work? And like you've already talked about, the beautiful portrait of your daughter that you sold to a collector wanted that. Is that the avenue that you want to go, or do you want to do commercial work? Because they're two very totally different things to my mind. What is it, Jan? Do you want to do commercial work, or do you want to do fine art work?
Yeah, that's the question, yeah, because if you do, or please describe simply how would you define the fine artwork, because there is a I think then if you present yourself like fine art photographer, then you cut lots of maybe business opportunities from yourself, isn't it? Or
well, it depends. See, for me, the only real commercial work I've ever done in wet collodion are commissioned portraits. and I do those in conjunction with whatever I'm doing. So for me personally, they're two very different worlds, and yeah, you're right. The one, the fine art, the gallery, and the collector avenue is a lot longer. It's not as immediate, and probably definitely in the beginning would not be as lucrative financially at all as the commercial work. But then when you roll in the commercial work, and you use a process like collodion to do commercial work, and I don't know if you plan on doing that with collodion or anything else. The reason I haven't used wet collodion to do commercial work is I found that any time that I do that commercial work for money, it tends to taint the process, and it taints my attitude, and it taints, it disrupts the flow for me. So I can't make personal fine art work and commercial work concurrently. I have to do one or the other. It has to be compartmentalized for me, because commercial work I'm not doing for me. I'm doing for someone else. That's not my work. I'm the mechanic in the process, right? I'm the machine. I create this product. In the fine art world, these are my ideas. These are my emotions, my concepts, my questions, my opinions, whatever it might be, and they can be on a wide variety of topics for whatever you're interested in, but you're not dictated by anyone, and you're not told by anyone how these images should look or what they should be. So when you talk about I'm a photographer, and do you have any tips for working full-time in photography, I would definitely distinguish between those two, commercial and fine art work. And then, obviously it sounds like to me you're going to need a blend of some kind. You're going to need to somehow make the money to pay the bills, and then still have your mind and your soul about you to do your personal work and pursue that. That's what's most difficult. That's where this English idiom starving artist comes from. It's basically poking at the idea that your personal revelations don't mean a whole lot financially. Well, that's probably true in some cases. If you stick with it, I think in the long run, financially, the personal work's a lot more lucrative. I think you have a lot more return on it if you do it for a lifetime, as it were. But the commercial work is going to bring the money in. I can't speak to commercial work at all. I don't do that kind of work. I'm not interested in that kind of work. I just don't do it. So I can't speak to that.
Okay, I understand. Thank you. And then is the question maybe which can be discussed next time, not today, of course. We have. I would like to see also Barbara and her work. But I would really appreciate next time discuss more deeply if you would like to share with us your experiences. Because for me it would be really very helpful how to because inside of me I feel better with my own work, with my own creations, my own feelings, and I think that also the results looks for me, and also feedback from my friends is that they like what I do, and my work from the past was not affected by money. It's also, I think, very important if you know that you create something which is not necessary to do. Just you have something in your mind and you create something, and then wow, people like it. It's really good feedback. But the second step to be happy is, of course, also the financial point of view, because you have to live from something. Yeah, and next time I would like to discuss if you have some, let's say, basic rules how to offer your work, how to start to offer your work, how to simply go into this kind of business, because it would be for me very helpful to get to to get some basic rules, some basic first tips or ideas.
Yeah,
Jan,
we understand. Yeah, the direction. You'd like some feedback on direction, and that would be a good topic to do next time. Is talk a little bit about that. I think that would be fair. Does anyone have any questions for Jan or comments on his work? I think it's important for him to get some feedback here.
I do, Quinn, if I could just jump in for a moment. Excuse me. It's Dale here, Jan. I listened to you and your questions, and I understand where you're coming from, having been there, and to a large extent, after 30 years transitioning to what it is I want to do. Quinn put it much more eloquently than I did. The difference between fine art and commercial is one pays you up front, the other doesn't. If you're thinking strictly financial, my question to you, and perhaps you might want to bear this in mind as you go forward, if the financial side is a consideration. I don't know where you live. I don't know what the economic climate is where you live, but let me ask you, excuse me, how many people in your hometown, or say within 100 kilometers of where you live?
I live in a city with 40,000 citizens, 40,000 people, and close to my city is a city with 250,000 people, called Brno, and 150 kilometers from my city is Prague, 1.5 hour from my hometown.
Okay, so it's not a large population base, and the reason I was asking that is I think what you will find is that population within your closest region with 40,000 people is pretty small, but I think those people will tell you what you're going to do if you are looking to earn a living. We have a saying in Anglais or in English, the customer is always right, and the customer is the one with the money in their pockets, so you have to ask what customer what they want. That's going to give you the cash flow in the immediate. But having said that, as I looked at the stuff you've done, and I think it's important to recognize this, I saw all your work that I saw Jan. I did not see any indication of commercial or any interest in commercial at all. I saw Jan wanting to explore his world around him and document his world around him through objects that were nearby. I don't see that in any way, shape, or form steering you in the direction of commercial. I think you, from what I can see, I think you would have difficulty in having an art director telling you what to do and how to take it, and all you do, quite frankly, is push the button. Very rarely in commercial are you given the flex, in a small community anyway, are you given the flexibility to work the way you want to work. When you get more successful and your style and so on, it's allowed to take you in directions that you want to go, then yes, the bigger accounts may come calling. But in the meantime, I think your customer is going to tell you what you're going to do. I hope that helps in some small way.
Yeah, thank you very much. We have, I think, last year with Quinn also discussed this topic. At that time, I asked about a possibility to create a studio in my house. Maybe you remember, and we have discussed it that it's such a small town. It's very big investment, and also I'm realistic, and I have no customers in my city. I have to publicly say, because small city, people like your picture. They will thank you if you take picture of them for some small money. But this is definitely not a way to let's say not survive, but to do business in this kind of photography locally. Yeah, I can imagine my customers of my work not in my hometown, definitely not, because they have not so much money, and maybe they have some of them. I do not know, but definitely, realistically said, it cannot bring you some regular income. That I know. I'm pretty sure that wouldn't work to be dependent on people in my hometown. I have to find some business, either in bigger cities to create some to to create my work, to continue to work on my personal work, and then to show my work somewhere and to make some presentation, some exhibition, yeah, and to inform people that I exist. I do some work which will be presented there, and during this presentations, exhibitions, and promotion of my work, I can imagine that I can find some people, some collectors, or simply people who will be interested in this work I'm creating. That's my view.
If devote some time to that topic next time and see where we can go with it, because it is a very, very tough topic to deal with. I mean, it's money, and it's your passion, it's what you love to do, and if you live in a place that you don't have those resources, or you don't have that audience to purchase the work or to do exhibitions, it's a tough thing. You have to work that out, but it's good. It's a journey, right?
Can I just finish off with one thing, Quinn?
Yeah.
And I don't know how to say this, Jan, but I'll put it as blunt as I can. In English, we have a saying, fail to plan or plan to fail. So in other words, write a business case, work on a business case, learn your business, and spend a lot of time on that. And through that exploration of your business case, you will discover what it is you have to find to do your business. It's not something you can sit down on the weekend. It's weeks and months of really doing some soul searching, and not just of yourself, but also of your climate and your economy, your competition. You really have to develop a business case. Anyway, this is not the venue to talk that. I think there's more fun things to talk about than business.
Well, anything else for Jan? And if there is, great. We'll take it, and then we'll move on to Barbara, and she can give her presentation. Yes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me or not? Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Quinn, Dale, and Quinn, Jan. Thank you for the presentation. Two words I wanted to use. I wanted to talk about, which I think it's something we'll talk about the business. Business is fascinating because I'm in a position where I do both. I do commercial work and fine art work. But there's one thing I'm looking for what Jan did, which is, identity is the really important, and confidence is the two important things which a lot of people underestimate in any work you do. If you don't have any of those two, I don't think you can do anything. And I mean, I know you live in a small place, and I know it's going to be difficult. I know there's a lot of, it's very, very difficult to do what you want to do. But as Dale say, and Quinn said, which is very, very true, do it. Do whatever you want. Go for it. I would say, I mean, I love the pictures you have of your daughter, and I think there's definitely something very intimate, personal, and very attractive to a lot of people because you pull strings in emotions with your work, and a lot of people can relate to it. So already, I think you've got something, and I think you should continue and continue. I mean, the thing is, in terms of approaching other people, I would say like I said to every student I've got, is you have to build a portfolio. It is no point you starting to think of a client unless you have a body of work, whether it's commercially, whether it's fine art. So once you do that, then have a look and say, for example, if I go to this company, just do some research about the company, because you will speak the same language you do. If you don't, then already after 2 seconds, they're going to say, sorry, I don't have the time. So like they'll say, you're right, it's do a lot of work, do a lot of work. The one thing really struck me that Queen say, and I can so get it, is where your heart is slightly taken apart because you have to do something which you don't feel completely it's yourself. Now, I personally think the only way to do so is to do it, to really believe that you can do it, and believe that only you going to go. And if you know, I understand what they'll say, that the client will dictate what you do. I look at it differently. I always look that if there's no doors to be open, create one. You know, so for me, I think that, you know, when man comes I mean, look, it's like acting. Sorry, I'm gonna be a bit weird there, but it's like acting. If you walk into the room and you look like you know what you're talking about, people will listen to you. If you go and not sure and how to do this or that, people's going to take advantage. So for me, I put it simple. I look at your website. It's beautiful, it's clean, it's easy to navigate. Already I can see that you put a lot of thought into your website. And that already tells me something about you. So if you do that same presentation when you see a job or potential client, then you will be treated the same. So I think Dale is right. You have to think what you really want to do and look at it. But it's not impossible. And the third thing I was going to say, I like what you've done, and I think you've done amazingly well from last time. I think last time we all had a discussion, you went very fair. So I think it's congratulations, and I think it's something amazing. And the last thing I wanted to say is that you know, I'm a foreigner in England, you know, and I had the same attitude of you come in a place and you don't know anyone, you don't know what to do. But the thing is, I believed that what I was doing is the right thing until someone tell me otherwise, and if they tell me otherwise, then I will listen and do it anyway. But the thing is that it's a lot to do with belief. So go for it. I was going to do it. It doesn't matter whether it's a small place or a bigger place. If you believe strongly that you can do it, they'll come to you. And I mean, you know, a lot of people appreciate risk takers. And the thing is, in the art world, as much as the commercial world, anything creative, you have to take risk. Now, my only things, the only negative things I will say is I will not think too much about collectors yet, as such. And I tell you why. Is because I just did 2 art fairs, quite big art fair. And the one thing I make sure I didn't think too much of is collectors. I just wanted to go, present my work, be passionate about it, and enjoy the show, as opposed to I just want to get money and go to the next show. Because I'm a true believer, and I know it sounds bizarre because I do commercial work as much as I think, is that when money is a solution, it becomes a problem, you know, because eventually you'll be, you know, someone going to say, well, I like what you did with your daughter, but I like something, there's this, you know, your heart's going to be broken, and you're going to be torn between, do I do it because I really genuinely want to do it because it's my identity, or do I do it because, yeah, it's going to give me some cash? So I think that's the important thing. I think once you do your work and you can talk about your work like a breeze, because it's part of you. It's like this light, you know, and you've got all those flies coming to the light. It's exactly the same thing. You will attract people who's going to say, yeah, I really like what you do, and I know it's tough, but you know the truth is, I know it sounds hard, but no one cares whether an artist is struggling. That's what I realize, you know, unless you die tomorrow and then they make a film out of you, but that's it, you know. But no one really cares. So the truth is, I think focus on the positive, the fact that you make a decision, the fact you believe that's what you want to do. And you know, the truth is, you want to be a photographer, take pictures. If you want to be a gardener, you know, grow plants. So, you know, go and do it. And you see, the more if you really want it, going in to make a business plan, will be not difficult, you know, because it's just gonna be a way to go to A to Z or to A to B. You know, a lot of people think business planning is very difficult. It's not if you want to do it. You know, if you don't want to do it because if you're lazy, just don't do it. So that's my thing. But I don't want to go too much in thing. What I wanted to say is, I think, Jan, from what I saw of you, I think your picture's amazing. I love the daughters. The picture of the daughter are beautiful. And the only thing I would say, and I maybe shouldn't say that, but I'm going to say it, is in terms of selection with work, less sometimes is more. You know, if you got too many plates, when some are you like and some you're not too sure about, it's probably better to cut it down a bit and get only a small amount of strong work rather than to put, because I'm looking at it all the time and I try not to put too much out there. But that's all I was going to say, but thank you very much. I promise I will not talk too much, but well done.
Well said, Nicholas. I like that. I will add one thing on that he commented on. I guarantee you this: if you do pursue whatever, you know, I always say pursue your passion, not your pension, but it doesn't always work out that way. We know that, but it's a great idea to have, right? So if you're passionate about something and you're pursuing it, and you're giving everything you have, and yet you're trying to formalize it too. Well, let's say you're going to go down the fine art path, or you're going to do some kind of hybrid kind of, you've worked out something that you can manage both, make a little money and still do your work and pay the bills and all that. That's what most people end up doing. But I guarantee you, when you go to face those galleries or those collectors or the exhibition spaces or whatever you're doing, and you walk up to them and you say, you sit down and you show them your portfolio, and you've made a tight edit on it, just like Nicholas just said very articulately, that you need to be able to really pick the finest of the fine and only show what you really feel the strongest about. And then on top of that, then more importantly, when you do that, you can't go in nowadays to a place and just talk technical. You can't do that. I don't care how beautiful your carbon print is from your wet collodion negative. It doesn't matter. If there's nothing there to support it, and I've talked about this ad nauseum. I'm sure there's hours and hours of me online rambling about this, but it really does play a role of being able to articulate what you're doing. And what I was going to say was this. I agree. Those portraits of Olivia, is that her name, Jan? Olivia, yeah, they're beautiful. I agree. And yet at the same time, my head just starts going out and connecting to all of these other people that are working similar, making wet collodion images of children. I've seen it. I mean, Sally Mann has done it. I forget her last name. Oh, Jacqueline Robertson, I believe, is her last name. She does it. There was an English woman that did it. There's a lot of so when you talk about moving into a space or photographing content, and you don't have your own personal reason for doing it, and you just present beautifully technical images that are well made or that are interesting looking or whatever, they're going to ask you to give them the narrative, the story, the idea, the concept behind all of this. And I tell you, if that's not as compelling as the work, or even more compelling than the work, nothing's going to happen. And so when I see people talk about making, oh, I'm out and I'm making this and I'm working in these conditions and I'm making plates this big and I'm doing this process and I'm doing that process and this is my lens, and this is how big my camera is, and this is the new thing I got. It all is just blah, 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 blah. It means nothing. It absolutely, I mean, they can ride it. You can ride that technical, you know, what we call like gear acquisition syndrome, getting stuff, making stuff, but never having any reason to do it. If you walk into any place, even here on this panel, and you present work, and there's no substance behind that, it's only trying to exist on its own, it won't survive. And it definitely won't survive in a market where you have other people doing similar things. It used to be years ago when you first got Nickelodeon, I saw many people do this. They were the only ones in their town. They were the only ones in their town, their city, their state, their country, and possibly even their, continent doing this, making work like this. Well, the world's their oyster. Hell, they can make a plate of anything, and it's going to be outstanding and wonderful and impressive, and they're going to ride that. But it's a real dangerous thing to get on that train, because once you're on that train, it's really difficult to get off. And if you're just writing it out on the technical or writing it out on extreme, like this is how big my plates are, I'm making these kinds of prints, or I'm doing this kind of stuff. If it's just technical, I don't think that's going to go very far. It's going to go quite a ways with your friends and social media and your blogs and your YouTube channels and all that. It'll get some traction. But if you're really talking the rubber meeting the road, really making that connection, you've got to have that story. You've got to be able to talk about it in a way that compels people, the way that it's so authentic and so real to you. This is why so many people don't ever do this, because they can't connect. They can't find that place way deep down inside, however long it takes them to get there. They don't even know how to search for it. They won't find it. And then they present their work, and it's just stuff. It's stuff that's everybody's done, that you've seen over and over again, without any narrative, without any story, without any concept. It's just plate. They're just photographs, and they kind of lay there. And that's what happens. That's what I've seen happen. So I would say, don't go through the process without really thinking about the work and having a compelling story. Like you said, the story about your daughter and her friend, and those kinds of things intrigue me. Those kinds of things intrigue people to go look at your work further, to investigate what you're thinking about, to look at your ideas, to look at your questions, to look at your comments, and really bring in. I think a well-rounded artist is someone who can talk about their work, make compelling work, talk about their work, and still either be technically strong or whatever they want to do on that side. I don't really care, but those components all have to come together in order for any traction to get any kind of monetary gain or financial gain. You have to be well-rounded, complete, both on the personal, private, fine art stuff and the commercial stuff as well. You have to be complete. So I'll throw that out there. Okay, guys. Somebody said they said they wanted to say something. I have a quick comment. Yes, Tom. Unmute yourself, Tom, please.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay. I just wanted to throw out one quick thing. I was talking to the photographer Joyce Tennyson once, and she had been shooting a catalog. She did this really elaborate catalog for some clothing company in California, and I asked her, how is your approach different when you're doing that than when you're shooting for yourself? And she said, it's not. She said, I tell them beforehand, I do what I do, and if that's not what you want, then have somebody else shoot it. And that's really, I know as people are getting started, it's difficult, but I think you kind of have to do that in a way. You just have to say, this is how I do it. Another quick thing, Chip Simon, I think is his last name. He lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He shoots for people. He does really weird things, like he does visual puns like corn dog, like a dog with corn as a body. It's really, a lot of it's kind of stupid, but it's kind of funny. He lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he shoots for people in Paris and New York and London and Los Angeles. And so, I mean, for those of you who live in smaller communities, make the trip, get to a bigger community, and go around and show your work. It may or may not catch, but if you find that one person that really resonates with you, then you may be able to go back to wherever you live and do the kind of work that you want to do in conjunction with someone from a larger market. Anyway, that's what I had to say.
Good stuff. Awesome. We appreciate that. Tom's an educator. He's well versed. He's got great advice. So he's worth listening to. He's not a nobody just because he's not. My mug is always out there, so you guys know who I am. But there are a lot of people on this panel that come in that I have great respect for, and nobody knows them, but I do, and I want to shout that out because there's a lot of people that come in on this panel that have tremendous amount of experience, and their words are valuable. So, Barbara, oh yes, please.
Can I add something? Because you're very good at giving compliment, but I want to give one to you. Is that I've been speaking to a lot of people in general about wordplay collodion, about art, about commercial work and everything. And there's one thing that I have to say that I really, really enjoyed, that you've been really driving. It's very much understand the language behind what is art, and doing, artist statement and everything. And to come back about what we talked about with Jan, is that, whenever you do commercial work or wherever you do anything, there's a certain language that we all have to understand. Whether to agree or not, that's another story, but to understand, to be able to communicate with others. And it's true, there's a lot of forums and a lot of people talk about lens and big size and this and that, but there's very, very little places where you can talk about understanding the meaning behind the work. Yes, very true. But it's all down to you, and that's the beauty about that forum. So I have to say that I always get excited because yes, we're going to look at work and we're going to look at Barbara's and everything, and it's very inspiring. But at the same time, once you start to say, I want to be a fine art photographer, and you're going to be standing with 50,000 people looking at you, eventually you've got to, you can easily be booed and be walked over unless you know how to express yourself with the work. So anyway, that was my 2 pennies to the pound, whatever it's called. But thank you, Quinn. I wanted to say it's a very, very important forums you have.
Well, I appreciate it. And again, great words of wisdom here, guys. I think a lot of people miss out on not coming in and participating. I know there are a lot of people. I get emails. People watch these shows all the time afterwards. I mean, people comment. And like, that was last year or something. So people go back in and watch them. They'll scrub through them and find tidbits and whatever. There's a lot of good information in these. So thank you for that appreciation. Barbara, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. You'll need to unmute yourself, but if you're...
Quinn, it's Dale here. Barbara's texting here at the same time. She's having some challenges. Technically, not her personally, but technically. Apparently, no sound on her microphone. She's getting feedback, so I'll leave that to you guys to sort out. You don't need me.
I'm here. Found the problem. Oh, it's been driving me nuts.
Barbara, there's a little red microphone up at the top there. All you have to do is push that button.
All right, Dale. That's enough.
My wife found that mute button long ago.
No, that wasn't the problem. Something in my system, so something got messed up.
Well, it's all you. If you want to take us on a little journey, I'm going to mute myself, and you take as long or as short amount of time as you need, and we'll go from there. All you, Barbara.
Unfortunately, I do still hear an echo, so I have no idea where that's coming from, but I'll try to do my best here. Apparently, everyone else is able to hear me okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay. Now, at this point, I guess my broadband is giving me problems, so how wonderful. The joys of living in the country. Okay, I have images to share, but I'm not sure exactly how to do this for you. Someone mentioned that I could share them on screen. I guess to go to share screen. Am I right?
You are right. Go to screen share, the little green button, and then pick the window you want to share. Yep.
Okay. Full screen hangout. I'll go with that one, I guess. And then start sharing. Okay. Now, at this point, am I able to log on to my website to use?
Yes, you can. You can.
How can I do that? Does
Let's
anyone know?
You know what, Barbara? Can you hear me?
Sure. I'm okay now.
Pull up a browser.
Okay. Whoops.
Oh, you do have a browser. Yeah. Just go to your browser. We'll be able to see it from there. Yep.
There we go.
There you go. You got it.
Oh, it's there? Okay.
We see it. Yep. There you go.
Oh, you can see it? Okay. Very good. Okay. Then I will. Do I need to downsize it, or is everybody comfortable with it?
No, you can.
The way it is? The way it is?
If you want.
Okay. Okay, let me get a peek over here so I can see. Ah, there it is. Okay, now I have an idea what it is. Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, this is from my website, and it's the opening plate, so to speak, for my homepage. I started in wet plate, I guess, back, I have Quinn's first edition of his book, if that says anything.
That is very old.
I know. And I use it often. But this plate was done in kind of a pun against downsizing the life of silver in photography. It is called Feeding the Silver Urchins. And in a saying, getting my message across at this time, digital was becoming the forefront, and everybody keeps asking me every now and then, why do you still want to do historical processes or do this type of thing when digital is here? You ought to be doing these type of things. I'm like, no, I enjoy the looks of silver. It has to be silver for me. So actually, I gathered a few things together and did this image as a pun, if you want to say it, or something for people to think about, that I'm still feeding the silver urchins that, you know, people want to put down the silver because of digital world. So that's basically where that came from.
Love it. Love it. That's awesome.
So that's where that one came from. I've left that one up on the main page for quite some time. The other part I want to go over is my portfolios. I work in projects because I have been where a lot of you people are trying to go. I've been the portrait photographer. I've been some commercial. I've done commercial work. I've done wedding photography for years and years and years, and I've always been interested in historic processes, and I put that behind me to pursue now what I really want to do, and that's my fine art work. So I started in 2004 picking up some processes. Started before that with some historic processes, but trying to fine-tune the process that I love the most. And over that period of time, wet plate has been the priority. So my portfolio is showing a lot. I do have some older work at the bottom if anyone is interested, and you can see those down there. It's an archival of earlier work. But the projects that I work on now, one of them is the Forbidden Box. And in this Forbidden Box project is a series of images that has been taken from my grandmother's diary that she wrote faithfully from 1915 to 1955, up until the day before she passed away. It's been an interesting journey. When we moved my mother, she had the boxes in the attic, and when we moved her into her other home, she wanted me to throw them out, and I couldn't do that. And I saved them and started to evaluate them and read them, which was very difficult. Some of it was written in Dutch, and no capitalization in sentences, no punctuation, basically just run-on sentences. So it was difficult for me to read them. And I thought, well, if I'm going to read through these, I might as well go ahead and try to transcribe what she had written. Some of the diary images, or some of the diary writings, were so faint that I used a magnifying glass and window light to try to tilt the pages to see how she indented or made an indentation with the pencil when she wrote. So after almost 1,000 pages copied, almost 3 years of work there, I decided, how do I want to bring this to the world? How do I want to get across to the world that this is something that I think is worth sharing. This one woman's life through the periods here locally, I live in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, through the periods in her life and what affected her and her religion and her family. So what I'm going to do eventually is, with the images that I've chosen, I want to also take the excerpts from her diaries that pertain mostly to those things that she was trying to discuss. And this is part of the journey. So I'm going to click on that. And here you can see, I know they're kind of small, but here you can see my grandmother on the right-hand side and my mother then on the left. And I do have another image to go with it, which is mine, and that one is of me in the other hand, meaning that it is my turn to take this to the next journey. And that one I don't think I have on here, as far as I know on this one. But these are little things that she wrote in the back of her diary, something simple as poems that she had as a childhood, or what she had memorized as a child. And I'll just go through these. These are excerpts just simply that they ran out of material to make aprons for the men when they were doing the butchering, so she ended up taking the tablecloth, making an apron for the guys. And there's other excerpts that go along with it. This is gardening. This is basically asparagus. But some of these items I've had to scrounge up some real antiques to try to portray the time period as much as possible. This one represents the time when traveling, salesmen, I'll call them. They used to call them, I believe, hucksters. Sometimes they were just hobos, whatever the case might be. He was a basket salesman. So he would come around to the house every so often, and he'd be selling baskets, wash baskets, any type of trinkets or things like that that a housewife would actually have to have. And thus the baskets were formed. This, I don't know how well you can see it, but there is a photograph here of, and these are all tin types, by the way, on aluminum, all collodion on aluminum. The image that you see there would be my great-great-grandmother and then my grandmother. And this was actually my grandmother's dress. And I found that when I cleaned my mother's house out, and there's a suitcase with some things in. So even my mother was trying to think of a way that this had to be put to purpose some way, and she couldn't figure it out. But she would never tell me. She would never talk about it.
Hey, Barbara, could you? Sorry for interrupting. Could you take and expand your window, your actual Windows window? Could you go full screen on it?
Yeah. Hang on a second.
That'll help us see those. They look great.
Whoa! There we go. Okay. See if that stays there. Okay. Is that better? A little bit better. Okay. And that was one of her dresses. And the excerpt that goes with this is that in her diary, she confided in the way her mother wished to be buried and what she wished to wear. So this is an excellent explanation or exemplifying that statement. And then this was the no firebugs excerpt from her diary.
Hey, Barbara, how are you dealing with making direct positives and having the text?
Oh, yes. Yes, I forgot to say that. Thanks, Quinn. This is actually all this project. Okay, let me go back here a little bit. When I first started out, I started out with what is called the Rocklin Collide tin type method, and I worked with that, but I had so much trouble with it. It was kind of developing the look I wanted, but not quite the procedure enough to make them archival. It just wasn't there. So that's when I purchased Quinn's book and started the journey of doing wet plate. And I thought, well, if we can use a slide for the purpose of creating the tin type doing the Rocklin Collide method, why can I not use a slide to do wet plate? I know it's slow, etc., etc. Why can't I do this? Well, I experimented. Quite a few went in the trash can, let's say, and experimented quite a bit, and the methods started to come together. Now, I have an enlarger with a pretty strong bulb. I think it's a 250-watt bulb. And my time on these in the darkroom is usually about 20, right around 18, 20 seconds, depending on the slide density and so forth. I know that makes it long, so down in the corner in my darkroom, I have a little humidifier, and I just turn that up a little bit, and that keeps the plates nice and moist so I don't have to worry about them drying out too much. So that started the process to experiment with, continue the whole project here with using a slide as in the projection method to create the tintype itself.
So Barbara, just technically, and I don't want, just so the folks on the panel watching don't understand that, what she's doing is she's taking a positive chrome, I guess, an actochrome slide or something?
Yes. And actually, in the beginning, I started using just regular color slides.
Okay.
The problem with using color slides is the same thing that we understand with wet plate collodion. Colors aren't projected very well, or not, give difficulty, I should say.
Yeah.
So what I have done now is now I'm shooting digital. I'm creating a black and white image. I'm adjusting that density in that image to get it to where I know, after lots of practice, it needs to be. Yeah. I'm sending that out to a service which is making a slide for me, and they are then returning it back. Now I can do my projections in the darkroom.
Great. Are they 4x5 slides or 35?
No, actually, I'm using 35 millimeter.
Yeah. No, it just so folks know out there what she's doing. I've done that quite a bit. Just take. I've got an Omega enlarger. Put a slide in the carrier. When we talk about a slide, we're talking about a positive color chrome piece of film, ectochrome, a Kodachrome, any kind of chrome positive film. Up in your enlarger, black and white chrome, positive, whatever. Shoot it down onto your positive plate. My exposures were like f8 at 30 seconds or something. Just a cold light in there.
I think mine are 5, 6, and they've been running around the 18. Like I said, 8 to 20. I've had them go longer too for some things, but yeah, fortunately not all of them.
Barbara, it's Dale here. Can I just interject
Sure.
for a second? It's interesting what you're doing. It's kind of what we used to do many years ago with orthofilm when we wanted to create text.
True.
Yeah. Have you tried to bring that into the modern or into the contemporary time? Have you tried printing these on Pictorico, for example, and creating your own negatives and going from that?
I have tried that. I have an awful lot of trouble with trying to get the correct density for me. Somebody told me I should print over them twice, maybe. In other words, run the pictorial through once and then put it back in and run it through again. I'm not getting a very good quality negative. I think that's some of the problem.
Yeah, I think that would create registration problems right off.
Exactly. So that scared me, and I'm like, this is just as good, and I'm pleased with it. Keep in mind that what you're seeing on the screen is low res. Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to have these to be too good for internet service, so to speak. So what you're seeing are low res images, and so forth. But getting back to the whole project idea with this, there was a gentleman that she often talked about called Mommy's Man, and Mommy's Man was a gentleman who came around to the houses, and he would carry the wares that a woman would run to the store to get. Oh, I need a pan for this, or I need a spoon for that, or I need this, that, and something else. And he had a wagon, and he would carry all of his wares in his wagon, and he would sell them along his journey. And lots of times he would say to the ladies, "Do you have any food? Extra food?" You know, so they would end up feeding him or letting him house his horse in the barn and sleep in the barn that night. So she discussed this. So this is in reference to what is known as Mommy's Man. Later on, Mommy's Man sold his horse. The horse got older and passed on or something. And then he was backpacking and selling, which I'm not sure I have that one here, but he sells safety pins and rickracs and all kinds of things. I think I might have one.
Barbara,
go ahead.
Sorry, Dale again.
No, that's okay.
I want to jump back here. You mentioned before that the diary was in Dutch.
Some of it.
Okay. Was this? But you're in Pennsylvania, so I'm trying to get a sense of geography here, where the peddlers and the hucksters and so on are.
Right.
I know I'm going to get shot for this, but with the safety of the internet, I'm going to say it sounds very American. Is the geography based? And I say that in humor, of course. Is the geography of this work based in the Netherlands, or is it indeed based in America?
No, it's in Lancaster County.
Oh,
Yep.
really? Okay, so it is.
Yes, really.
Okay.
Some of the words she referred to in Dutch were just incidental words. It wasn't that the whole sentence was written in Dutch. All of a sudden she'd be writing, and then she would go into 2 or 3 words of Dutch, and she'd be back to English again. So I was like scratching my head trying to figure this out. I have to share this story because one of the perplexing things you're welcome, Dale. But one of the most perplexing things she mentioned was, quote unquote, now, Dave, D-A-V-E. Most of the time when she would say, the Dave went away today, or the Dave came today, or we got a new Dave. I'm like, what the heck is a Dave? So I checked with a friend of mine who is a linguist, and he said, Barb, there is no word in the English language called Dave that refers to anything other than a person. I'm like, oh, jeez, oh, gee. Well, it took me till almost the end of the diaries to figure it out. It is the name for a bull. And I am thinking that being that she was a Reformed Mennonite, and you don't say things like bull, that Dave seemed more appropriate. So, yeah, go ahead, laugh. That the word Dave just seemed more appropriate for her, and she shouldn't write these nasty words, and she shouldn't say these things. So, but it took me a long time to figure that one out.
and Dale just sounds a little too close for comfort right now.
Exactly. This is their first time that they had bought their first farm, actually, and this is the house in the nest. That's what that one is to represent. And this is the type of clothing that they would have worn being a Reformed Mennonite, similar to Amish. In many ways, the Reformed Mennonite Church and their beliefs are even more strict than Amish. So they had to wear what they call aprons, or the V-necked shawl, and the bonnets, and this is the way that the ladies would dress, in contrast to what was popular in that time period as the pattern dresses, the dresses, and the lady with the makeup and so forth in the background, the short hair. You would see, those type of things normally, but they had to wear the dresses, the ladies did. So that's a basic contrast image there. This is my grandmother back here in the back, and then my grandfather here. And the only one that refers to actually having their picture taken was before she denounced all of the worldly things to become a Reformed Mennonite. A photographer came to the house to take their photographs. So this is in regards to the photographer coming to the house with a wagon, coming to the house to take photographs. So this is in reference to that. And that's my 5x7 in the background. Also, there was a gentleman who came around who collected rags. And these are basically torn up rags, torn up tea towels, anything like that, hanging on the line. He would take those, and I don't know where he took them or what he did with them, but he would take them around, I believe, to sell or to, I don't know. I have no idea at this point, but that's the rag man. This is a good one. They would raise peepees, they would raise ducks, and so forth. And there is several excerpts where they had such trouble with rats getting in and killing the geese, or killing the ducks, or killing the chickens. So this is actually in regard to that. And remember, this whole project is done through the process of projection from slide onto a web plate. This is in reference to her stipend that her husband would give her every now and then to spend, and she would have to make that $20 go for possibly a month, maybe 2 months, until they could afford that he could give her some more money. So This is in reference to that. This is a poem that she wrote in the back called The Sparrow. And again, you can see these closer if you want to on the website. This is when she was beginning to get fitted for a corset. There was a lady who came around to the house and actually would come to size you up and prepare you a good-fitting corset to wear. Bear in mind, she did have 5 children. So that's in regard to that. And this is the tobacco they grow, which we still grow here on the farm. They were farmers, so, and the tobacco worms. This one is regard to all the grandchildren. I guess, yeah, I was the last one. All the grandchildren having their photograph taken that day. So of course you see no baby in there. They're all getting their picture taken someplace else. And this basically represents not only the peaches that they grew in the orchard and so forth, but it also represents the time in her life when she was fruitful and well, how do you say it? Well, okay, beautiful and robust, to the midlife when things start to go a little bit downhill, and then obviously in the end when she passed away. So it's kind of in representation of her life as well as the fruits that we bear, the fruit and the fruits of life. This is in regard to her giving up all worldly things at this point, and no makeup, no jewelry, nothing that would make her or attach her to the world as a woman in any way. So this is for this. No hairpins, no. I think they wore bobby pins, but they weren't allowed to wear any fancy barrettes or anything like that. So, and this one is actually one goose, one chicken. So they had a stand at local farmers market, and she would go Tuesdays and Fridays and sometimes Saturdays. And chickens they raised would be butchered and cleaned, and the ducks also butchered, cleaned, and taken to market for sale to the community. So it's rather interesting that during the Depression, that family life really wasn't too terrible for them because they did have food to eat. But the prices that she had to sell things for at the market shows a significant reflection of what the economy and what was happening in the world that day, or that time period, I should say. Ah, there I am. I'm the one who's taking the project to the next step. So that's that one. The other part, okay, let me get back here and go to the next. Oops, I should have done it that way. Sorry about that. I'm talking to myself.
Very wonderful.
Go ahead,
Barbara.
Oh, thanks.
And
thanks.
for those looking at this, go to her website and look at the work, because looking through a screen doesn't do it justice.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm enlarging them too, and then you're going through a screen, so that doesn't help matters either. The other one is the Unfinished Dreams, which I started several years ago. This is all work taken firsthand using a Holga camera. So I'm making very small plates. They're only 2 1/4 by 2 1/4, and it's about all of my dreams. Like most people, we've had nightmares. We've had dreams probably all of our life. Some of mine get to be really funky. So this is in regards to these dreams that I've had. I had first started to write them down, and I thought, nah, writing them down just doesn't quite express what they really are to me. So I started this project, and some of them I've ended up making triptychs and diptychs with, and yeah, whoops, there we go, back here. So,
Barbara?
What? Mm-hmm.
Oh, so sorry. Can I ask you a question before you go to this project? I wanted to ask you, in the previous project, the Forbidden Box, I see different size of plates.
Yes.
And I just wanted to ask you, is there a reason, or did you use different camera, or is it purely for the aesthetic of it, or?
No, the first project was done through the projection method.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to jot it down, the Forbidden Box
Yes, that's
Yes,
it. Yes.
yes, that is all done, and you might want to read the statement about that too. But that project was all specifically done through the use of projection method. In other words, no camera involved other than my digital camera when I first took the image and set up the scene or set up the props, etc. For that,
Okay.
I took the image, put the image in Photoshop, adjusted what I needed to, checked, did whatever I need to the image. Now I don't modify that image other than to correct the density, maybe a little bit of cropping, but that's rare. Other than that, it is straight, just as though it would have been taken from a camera. I didn't want to change things. Pardon me?
So it's not on type.
No, they are on tin types. The Forbidden Box is a tin type.
Okay.
It is wet plate collodion on metal.
Okay, so the choice of different size of tin type, that's what I'm
Okay, the choice for the Forbidden Box, I believe the majority of them are 5x7s or full plates. I think some of them are 6.5 by 8. Let me go back here. Oh, there's a few that are 4x5. It's depending a lot on. I mean, I'm thinking in the future of how I'm going to frame these and how I'm going to end up eventually showcasing them. So that kind of governed a little bit about how this plate size was going to work out. My intent you're welcome. My intent with the Unfinished Dreams is that there's small little things that pass in your brain at night when you're trying to get a good night's sleep. And if they're small little things, but yet they're important to me, I chose the Holga camera to do the small plates. It's a small little thing. And I use it then to, make 2.25 by 2.25. These are real tin types. These are shot through the camera. Lots of my exposures can be long, unfortunately, because you're working with.
I'll let you continue. But thank you for the heads up.
Sure. There is a plastic lens, so your optics are not great, and that's what I want. I want something. Some of them will show movements. Some of them will be clearer, I should say. I'm trying to create that fleeting moments that you have this dream, that time that you're just not consciously awake. And that's what this project's about. If someone wants to take a look at it, if there's anything in particular, I'll show you page 2. If there's anyone in particular you want me to exemplify or talk about, let me know. I can do that.
Barbara, I had a question real quick.
Sure.
What was the influence between this series right here, Unfinished Dreams, to shoot through the camera, and the last series to do projections? Why didn't you just shoot through camera on the last project?
I thought I'd get asked that. Well, I was still in the experimenting mode from trying to work with wet plate in the darkroom. I kind of guess I proved to myself that it can be done, and they just started looking. The effects were there of what I wanted. I wasn't sure with the first 5 or 6 in that project, and the effects were what I was looking for. Maybe it's not the quote-unquote true process it should be, but historically, except for the chemistry and everything used, is identical. It's just the way of capture was a little bit different. But other than that, it just started to come out so well that I just stayed with it. So that's why the difference. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about these? I was also experimenting with, well, not really experimenting, but using a process called photogenic drawing, and that's the Spiritus project. And the Spiritus project are, I have trouble walking. When I was born, my legs were turned behind me. I wore braces for 5 years to turn them around, And I've had several back surgeries over the past several years, or 15 years, I should say. And walking is not very easy for me. So I'm always on the lookout for obstacles that could possibly, be hindrance to me. Therefore, my eyes are mostly on the ground and a little bit, more cautious about where I'm going and how I'm traveling. And along the way, I did this as a kid, too, because I didn't walk well. So I did this as a kid, and I would pick up little things that were strange. Mom would, with my braces on, Mom would take me to the garden, sit me on a blanket, and I'd pick the blades of grass and look at weird flowers in a strange way or something like that or whatever. And this is just a carryover from those experiences, I think. And I just look at nature in a different manner, so to speak. I'll just pick one out here to mention. This is just plain. This is bluebells. Now, each one of these are also done through just the light from the enlarger. There is no slide. There's nothing in there. It's just light projecting onto the wet plate. And how I make these is the wet plate goes on my grid first. If I'm going to make something like this, I have a grid marked in inch spots. I think each one of these plates are probably 4-inch plates. So when I am ready, I put the plate is not there yet. The glass is on top. It's because I have little spacers there to keep the glass away from the plate. The object is laid on top of the glass. Now it's a very close, tight. They're not touching each other. The plate is not touching the glass, but it's really close at that point. And I mark on my glass exactly where my corners of my plates should be. So I can square everything up so I can get things that kind of look like, you can tell here they didn't quite match up. But that's all right. And so forth. And then I just turn the light on, and each plate is made individually. So I just go down the road to expose. So I'm exposing the first plate, lifting off the piece of glass with the items on, developing it, pouring the next plate, sensitizing it, laying it down, and putting the glass with the items on back over top and into position, and preparing for that little 4-inch plate. So this whole series is done in sections. So there we go. If anybody has any questions, they can, welcome to ask. Whoops. All right. There we go.
Have you noticed these tiled images? Now, these are quite old, aren't they? Or they're a couple?
Yeah, this is about 5 years, I guess.
Yeah.
Going on 6 maybe for the project.
Yeah. I've noticed there's a big trend in tiling these included into tile images. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. I found it interesting. I mean, there's all kinds of concepts you can put on it, but I see people tiling these objects nowadays as kind of a novelty without any real, kind of an aesthetic, really. That's all they're kind of using it for.
Yeah.
How are your feelings on this? You call them photogenic drawings.
Yes.
What are your feelings on like the use of these tiling images today? I know, I'm sure you see it a lot.
I have, yes.
Sorry, somebody's.
That's okay. As far as the use, I've had one gallery show with them already, and have sold a few. This one in particular, each plate is 6 inches across, so this is rather large. I have another one that's over 40 inches, but I haven't put that on the website yet. I haven't scanned that and placed it up here yet. The use, I think, with intentions was for the fine art purchaser, the person or the individual who wanted to display something like this. Other than that, that's about it.
So Jan, you see what she's done here? She's incorporated some of the commercial element with her own work that way. That's kind of what we were talking about. That's why I kind of mentioned it is
oh, okay.
These kinds of things can be intriguing as a blend, as a hybrid,
Mm-hmm. 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 And I still look for things that I can use, and I have boxes of items to use, so the project may continue. Oftentimes you can see some blue on these. You saw the dead bird before with some blue. I've been experimenting with some of the collodion not getting fully fixed. I've been pulling ahead of time. That's probably not a good thing to do, but I like the aesthetics with it.
Yeah, you know what that is, Barbara, just for your own information?
It's the collodion, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's, do you use cyanide or hypothiosulfate?
Cyanide.
Yeah. It's, when you have, it'll happen especially in warmer conditions. When you flow a plate of collodion and you drain that collodion off the plate, you usually have a drip line or drip edge where the collodion will build up, and you kind of stomp it off a little bit or tap it off on a paper towel. You tease some of that off. In the summertime, a lot of that stuff won't come off, and it'll build up. And then you go and you run your after your exposure, you run your developer over that. That developer has iron in it, quite a bit of iron. And then you arrest that development, and then you fix it. And if you're fixing with cyanide, when cyanide and iron come together, they form what's called Prussian blue. That's the color, Prussian blue. So if you go to Birkenau, Auschwitz-Birkenau, you can go to the Birkenau gas chambers, and you can see underground, where they destroyed the gas chambers, you can see all the Prussian blue, the cyanide that they used in the gas chambers mixing with the iron in the earth, it's all blue. You can see it blue on the ceilings in the gas chambers sometimes too, depending if there was any iron anywhere or whatever. But that's called Prussian blue, and that's the iron, the residual iron that it is stuck in the collodion, iron from your developer, that's stuck in the collodion interacting with the cyanide and forming Prussian blue, FYI.
Oh, wow. I liked it, so I started to experiment with it a little bit more. If anybody has any questions about them, please, please let me know.
If you want to make that real extreme, Barbara, don't wash all the developer off completely. I mean, you can cover the whole image, but that Prussian blue, you can really make it jump.
Ooh. Now you give me more ideas.
Well, be careful, though, because you have glacial acidic acid in your developer along with the iron, and the acid mixed with the cyanide will form hydrogen cyanide gas.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
You have to have a little balance there.
Right. Right. Yep.
Barbara,
So Barbara, sorry, Mark. Mark, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Barbara, when you show these, do you leave space in between it, or do you keep them butted up, the plates together, or did you do that just for scanning purposes? Or
okay, this is the close here is for scanning purposes. When I display them, I do not attach them to my backboard. I came up with a method. I think Mark Osterman told me that it would be a good idea. So I bought real fine black wire, and I make holes in my backboard, and I push that fine wire through and make what is called I call them corner loops, so to speak. Excuse me. And I make corner loops just to hold the very corners of the image. So if you take one plate, let's see here, that's place of 3. If you take one plate, that wire would come right across the corner, and a hole up here and a hole up here would take that wire to the back of the board, and then I would just basically twist them like a bread bag twist.
Right.
Okay. Pardon me?
I'm sorry. Is your backing, is it black or white? I'm just curious.
No, most gallery shows, I tried showing these on black, and they didn't seem to have the same receptive response. Okay. So I took the black boards out and went back to white. Well, mine's actually a off-white. It's not really white. Backboard instead. I know it's not the greatest looking. I mean, they really bounce from it, don't get me wrong. I mean, they really stand out. But it's not quite exactly what I would be looking for exhibitions. But some galleries are really picky, and they want to know, they want to keep that uniformity between your exhibit throughout the entire, amount of images that you're displaying. So sometimes you don't always have the opportunity to.
Correct. Well, thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
This is what
Sure.
she's talking about. Just FYI, you guys. I use brass wires.
Oh, you use brass. Okay.
I use brass, and I go through a black mat board in the back here. This has got 2 mats on it. This is a quarter plate black glass, this triptych, and then the wires hold the images in the top and the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Basically how you do it, right?
Yeah, basically the same thing. Yep. Yep. Do you tape yours down in the back then?
I twist them together in the back. This is sealed, so I can't show it to you, but
Yeah.
it goes through the black mat board, and I twist them, and it holds a plate in. And I also have a piece of acid-free, double-sided archival
Correct.
plate that goes on the back.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I do display in wooden frames as opposed to metal frames. There's just something more natural about that grain, and I just started using wooden frames years and years, and oh gee, we're going back 30-some years. Well, okay, years ago, and I've just stuck with the wooden frames. So, but if anybody else has any questions or anything,
Barbara, I
free
wanted
to-
to ask you, if you don't mind, I wanted to ask you something. I'm looking at your website as well, and I see look at the
Oh.
work. And what are you doing now? What type of work you're doing now?
right now, I'm actually starting to shoot with my 8x10 more. I'm doing some full plates, some half plates, and some quarter plates. I'm doing mostly landscapes at this point. I do have a project in mind that I don't really want to open the door to the public with yet, and that will be coming up hopefully sometime this year. I'll be beginning that. I'm trying now to make the contacts of the individuals at the state of Pennsylvania's agricultural department, and we'll take it from there then.
But if I look at your website and you've used different technique,
Yes.
Now are you saying you're focusing on the wet plate collodion fully, or you like to use
Pretty much. It's been wet plate for the past well, since 2004, I guess, 2005. Yeah, for the past 10 years.
I was going to say, if you have my first book, I published that, I think, in the fall of 2005. So it's
right in
over 10 years, definitely.
Yeah. Right around 2004 was when I started to try that Rockland chemical mix, the colloid, I think it's called.
Yeah, the Rockland. Yeah, that's you mentioned that.
Okay.
People still write me about that today, not as often as they used to, because they just go to collodion. But I don't know how many times you heard. Can that do what collodion does? Don't even bother. Don't even bother.
No. Well, I really loved the effect I got from it, but unfortunately, the emulsion of the Rockland colloid peeled off the plates, and I have these beautiful sheets of colloid, dry colloid, and I'm like, now what do I do with it? And I'm like, well, I could go and experiment more with this, but is that what I want? Nah, I got to find a way to do this.
Well, you're right. You mentioned earlier the archivability of that stuff alone.
Right.
If you're doing something kind of in the ephemeral nature, as it were, no problem. It's a great material. It's completely imperfect, doesn't work very well, and definitely isn't archival. And yet, all those things can be appealing at some point if you want them to be.
Sure. Many times with this image of the Spiritus image, here's another one that's really blue. I'm pouring my developer on in strange ways. You can see here I've got a moon and so forth, just to make effects, to create special effects. So it's not that I'm that good at pouring plates.
Leave some alcohol out of your developer.
Okay.
If you have a good heavy used silver bath that you've ran, 20 or 50 plates through it, it's maintained and it works well. But if it's used a lot, leave the alcohol out of your developer and try to process the plate. You'll get these fire movements, this streaking, and it's really bizarre. It's really crazy. You can do all kinds of great things by making quote mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit off the beaten path. Well, you can look at it later. It's what's on your plate. We had a very good garden year that one year, and I had some old paper here. Since I'm into wet plate, my paper's kind of like, what do I do with this old paper? So I started pulling some sheets out, and I started laying vegetables and all kinds of things on them, and started to say, you know, well, what's on your plate? And this is kind of what came out of that project. And I'll probably eventually do something with it. I'm not sure what, but
that's very cool. The concept is great.
They came out, and with this though, lots of people put them into a fixer. You don't use a developer in that process. You only use a fixer, and they'll dip the image into that fixer. And when they're dipping that image into the fixer, unfortunately, it washes a lot of the color away. It washes a lot of debris and so forth that is still stuck on your plant, because this is a contact process and so forth. And I chose not to do that, so mine get rinsed in water, and then I have a little cup. I dip the fixture out, and I put it where I want to. So, and then they're scanned and put back into a dark bag, because you're never going to be able to, I'll never be able to bring them to the light because they're light sensitive, because they haven't been fixed. So that's mostly it. You can see my statements. You can see my CV there and my bio. You're welcome to look at that, and my ever-growing list of exhibitions. And I do have one book out that covers a lot of, covers wet plate, and it also covers my first experiments and so forth, and that's just called Sojourn. So you're welcome to look at that. Anybody have any questions?
Wonderful work. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Guys, get in there if they have anything for.
It's great work. Can I ask you again? I mean, are you with a gallery, or are you exhibiting with? I mean, I've looked. I mean, you've got an amazing.
Thank you.
Exhibition and awards and publications and everything. Beautiful work. I have to say, it's absolutely stunning. The thing is, are you with a gallery, or when you're talking about a new body of work you create, are you creating it purely because of your personal interest, or is it guided by a gallery, or
nothing that I do is guided by a gallery. It's by my own inspiration, my own experiences, my thought. My feeling is, and has always been, that if you want to be the artist aspect into realm, then you have to find parts of yourself that relate to what you're going to be doing. Even if you're going to be going into portraiture, you're going to find your own technique. Even if it's wet plate, whatever it is, you're going to find your own technique reflects things through your experience, things that you thought about, or even things that you have, how do you say this? I don't want to say dreamt about, but substances such as that are going to be reflected in the images that you take. So everything that I do is done that way. I don't have to, since I gave up the other work, I don't have to create work. One person asked me that one time, you know, why this? Why are you doing this? And I said, you know what? I don't have to do it for someone else anymore. This is for me. This is where I am starting to project myself. And I don't have to, in a more fully, or a more full way, I should say, instead of listening to what somebody else's needs want, and can you do this and can you do that? And, well, yeah, I could, but I'm not doing that anymore.
But it's interesting. It's interesting because coming back to what Jan was talking about, is in a way because you are so engrossed with your personal journey that and no one is dictating it. You feel freer, and I think the work can be.
Oh, definitely.
And I think that's a good thing for Jan to take on as well. I think whatever, or Jan or anyone, I mean, even me, everything I will do, and I'll try to continue. I'll try to free myself and be completely honest with what I want to say, you know. So it's great. It's interesting. But fascinating work. I personally absolutely love. There's a lot of things I love, but I have to say the Forbidden Box. It's a very sensitive project, which I think it's absolutely beautiful. There's so much depth into it, and the way you use the method, I find is more interesting. There's so many layers, which is beautiful. Well done.
Thank you. The Forbidden Box. I have been asked by the local historical society to do lectures about it and also explain some of the works there. My true endeavor there with that project is to open it up to Lancaster again, since it does pertain a lot of interesting historical facts and life during that time here in Lancaster County. What I'm in the process of doing now is finishing up most of the images that I'm going to take in relationship, and I'm going back through the diaries and I'm pulling the excerpts that I would like to include with the images when I show them. And I'm not going to show them, put those excerpts in a traditional fashion like pasting them on the wall or putting them in another frame. They're going to be ending up as having strings. All of my images are going to be in old frames. They can be broken frames, the paint can be off of them, it doesn't matter. Anything that reflects a worn, torn life, so to speak, or however you want to describe that. And from behind them are going to be strings coming out, and attached to the strings are going to be the statements that reflect the image. So people can go along and actually be involved by picking up a string and reading the statement and referring to the image again as to why the statement relates to the image.
I'm just going to jump in here, Barbara, if I can. I've said this before to you, I think, on email or something, and I'll say it again now. The without question, the work is phenomenal, and the Forbidden Box is so personal and yet so revealing, and for you to bring that forward and to expose yourself at the same time, I think is quite brave.
Thank you.
An incredible body of work. But you said you've just indicated how you were going to present this work, and I find that all too often this is where we fall short as artists, is we create the work and then that's when we stop.
Right.
We give it to a frame shop or some such thing, and they'll put it in a double matte, beveled edge with a Nielsen frame around it and hang it on the wall. To me, the shortcoming in the way we present our work is not in the work itself, or the shortcoming in our work is not in the work itself typically, it's in the way we present that work. And if you can put it in context, it just makes it so much more appealing on a whole variety of levels. So I'm delighted to hear you say that you're going back and presenting this work. You know, I don't want to make it sound trivial, but the old Porky Pig pictures hanging on the wall with the rope coming up and hanging on a nail. I think that's so critically important, because in many old houses at the turn of the century or in the 30s, that's what they were doing. I've seen photos of my grandparents' house, and that's indeed how the photos were displayed. So for you to bring that back and put it in context I think is fabulous, and to put the actual text that inspired the work, I think is going to bring this all together and complete the story. So well done. I think you should pack that display up and move it here further to the east by northeast, and
love to.
I'd love to see it.
Love to.
Thanks for sharing, Barbara. It's a great body of work.
Thank you. My problem is, since I have a little difficulty walking and so forth, like, I don't go to portfolio reviews except for Society for Photographic Education. They love my portfolios, but I'm trying to get that gallery aspect. I'm trying to get a book publisher that would possibly interested in publishing this project to create a more, so I can share it with everyone else, because the reason is, it's not that the Mennonite tradition is dying, it's the Reformed Mennonite tradition is. There is only a very small group that still exists here, and it's only in Lancaster County. And there is a very small group that may still exist in Canada. I don't know for sure. But it's a dying belief, so to speak. It's a religious belief, but it's not that they're not believing religiously. It's the things that they're practicing is actually becoming passé. So I would like to bring that to the forefront, not only for the agriculture, not only for the family, et cetera, and so forth, but it's the religious factors as well. So I have trouble getting to portfolio reviews, and I wish that I could find someone who could, work with me. So
well,
that's the way it goes.
I've got a big announcement here at the end of the show that I'm gonna hopefully you guys will appreciate. I think you will, and get everybody in on it. And it'll definitely apply to you, Barbara. But
good.
I was just really I think it's really amazing to have a group like this come together and share this and drop some knowledge and share some information, but moreover to see how people are working in this process or how they're incorporating it in. So you saw two bodies of work this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you're at, and you can see what they're dealing with, what the upsides, the downsides, the middle ground, the unknowns, the knowns. That's really what it's all about. It's about being able to see other artists. I don't think a lot of people understand that the value of coming together like this and sharing this work to people, with people, has for the viewership. To say, wow, wow, I had no idea about Barbara like that. Oh, wow, I never knew Jan was, those hidden things that even though we're connected through Facebook or Twitter or email or all that, we don't get that like we got it here today. And that's always been my real drive, is to get people to show their work and talk about their work and inspire other people. So thank you both, Jan and Barbara. If there's anything else for Barbara, I'm not cutting you off. I just wanted to get in there and say that I've got an announcement, and we're not going to leave until I give you this information. Does anyone have anything else for Barbara? Barbara, you might want to close that window. Look what it's doing. That's kind of cool to see, though.
She said she's having another one of those bad dreams again.
This is the work that she's been working.
Yeah, what do I need to do?
30 seconds.
What do I need to do? Oh, here, let's try that.
Infinity screen. Yeah, you can just say stop sharing or unshare. There you go.
Oh, wow. Thank goodness this is not the 70s.
Yeah, I have no idea what on earth is going on.
Oh no, it's just because you had a screen share and then I popped it over.
There we go.
Yeah,
Thanks.
It's typical.
It just took time to get through that all.
No worries.
And you look normal again, Barb.
I am normal?
Well, thank you so much for both Jan and Barbara sharing. I thought that was wonderful. I got a lot out of it. I really did. I don't normally really have announcements, but I do make comments and quote kind of promises on these shows that I do. This is the second year I've been doing these. So I know last year when I got back from China, it's probably January, February when I made this announcement, I told you I was going to start working with the Chinese. And that's the announcement that I have this morning, is that I got word from Gray, Mr. Lee, and they are organizing as we speak, and he asked me to put this out there, and I'm more than happy to do this. I will be participating in this, and I hope you participate in this as well. They're going to have a show, a wet collodion show, basically a presentation in Shanghai, China, at Artron Gallery, Artron Auction House, which is huge. It's a big, big deal. This is where you can mix commerce with art. This is where you can mix finances with pleasure. This is where you can do those things all wrapped up into one. There's a lot of money in China. There's a lot of disposable income, and boy, do they love Western artwork. Do they love to see what's going on in our parts of the world, North and South America, Europe. So my job has been to try to connect those dots, or that's what I've been working on for the last couple of years, is connecting those dots. So I get the first announcement today, March 5th? March 26th, something like that. What is today?
26th.
March 26th, thank you. March 26th, he's soliciting for people, and this will probably have to be tin types or ferrotypes or alumitypes, because shipping to China that breaks, so glass is probably out of the question for the most part, unless you can get your glass, unless we have a way to get the glass to China. We'll look into this more. But it's going to be in Shanghai at Artron. Go look at their website, artron.net. I'll put it here. Artron in the chat there. I know the chat goes away, but artron.net. This is a possibility. There's no theme to the show, okay? This is what they're calling kind of an initial exposure for wet collodion. Keep in mind, Shanghai has 30 million people. It's 3 times the size of New York City. So it's not like, you know, these images aren't, they're going to get a lot of traffic. I mean, there's going to be a lot of traffic. Next month I'll have more information. Keep it in mind if you want to participate. By next month I'll have a way where we can assemble and find out who wants to participate. We'll start gathering up digital images of the work, and then we'll get the work sent to China. It'll be a large exhibition. There will be a lot of eyeballs, a lot of potential there, guys. So I encourage you, if you want to break into some of these markets, if you want to break into some of these galleries in Asia specifically, this is a great way to do it. Believe me, I've been there. It's amazing, and boy, the future there is probably a place where you will be able to mix business with pleasure. You'll be able to sell your art, sell your work, and not be under the thumb of some kind of commercial entity. Your work will stand on its own. They'll you know, they love it. They love it. Believe me. I just sounded like Donald Trump, didn't I? Believe me. I don't know what I'm going to. Believe me. So keep that in mind. It's a June date. Does anybody have anything to say? Or Tom, did you say something?
No, I was just making a Trump gesture.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I mean, this sounds like an incredible opportunity.
Yeah, and there will be more, but I encourage people that are ready, that can make some, you know, some really compelling work. And again, next month I'll have more information, but, you know, think about it in the context of if you were to present your wet collodion work, for most people, it is this case, the first time to someone. Like, they've never seen this before. They don't, what is this stuff? You know, it's intriguing. That's the kind of thing we want to go for. So when I see Barbara's work, when I see Jan's work, there are plates in there that would be perfect. Large, small. Again, it's probably going to have to be on some substrate that can handle shipping well, many kilometers. But we'll talk about that more. So keep that in mind. Next,
Quinn, yeah. Is it plate only or alternative?
It's wet collodion only.
Okay, thank you.
There's not going to be any digital images. There won't be any. These will be physical plates. The actual, yeah. At the end of the day, I think you're going to find the Chinese, in this particular context, you know, again, kind of like any connoisseur of anything, they want the original, right? They don't want replicas of replicas of replicas. So, not that there's anything wrong with that in some cases. So that's a big one, and I encourage you guys to kind of keep that in mind. Like I said, next month I'll have a date for another a live show here in May. I've got a workshop. I got a couple of things going on in April. I'm working with CU Denver the first of the month, University of Colorado Denver the first of the month, and then I think the second week I have a workshop. So it'll probably be the third week in April. We'll do a live show, one of the third weekends in April, and that will give me time to collect some information. And if you follow me on Facebook or Twitter or any of those things, I'll announce those things as well too. So I won't say everyone. I mean, there will be a selection process. But I can assure you, the people that are hanging around in these circles, you'll be able to show your work in China if you want to.
I have a quick question.
Please.
Is there any content? Like, can you send nudes to this thing, or is that bourgeois and censored? Or
That's a really good question. Probably not. Probably not. Yeah. I thought this might come up. It's a great question, by the way, and something we should probably just address right now. Tom's right. This is still a very much a communist country, very much, you know, that way. They're free and open with the capital. you know, when I was in China, I thought they had capitalism down and America was lacking. So there's no lack of capitalism in China, but there are still some pretty heavy restrictions on, you know, and I'll just be outright with this, and I'm not saying I agree with it at all, but homosexuality, guns, politics, and nudity will not fly in China. I mean, it just won't go. So I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, you know, do what you want to do. But Tom brought up a very good point that we're dealing with a very different culture and a very different idea about. You know, I saw some very interesting artwork while I was there. Mao's face blowing up. You know, all the money has Mao on it. So I walk in a gallery and they're just slamming these Mao images of the RMB paper money that's copied and enlarged, and they're making. You know, I was like, wow, how do they get away with that kind of stuff? But it's opening up. You know, slowly but surely. But keep that in mind, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, in April, I'll have more information on it, and we'll go from there. What else, guys? Anything?
Quinn, if I can
absolutely, sir. Go for it.
Having been there, spent a couple of months on the local economy, like you, I have a little bit of an understanding, as vague as it is. But for those that are considering submitting plates or creating new work to consider to submit. And this, I don't want to prostitute the process here, but strictly from a commercial perspective, the Chinese as a body have huge appreciation for the landscape.
Yes.
If the landscape is big for them, so that's just something you might want to bear in mind if you're looking at it at this more from a commercial perspective than, say, a communication or a messaging perspective.
Yeah, very good point, Dale. In fact, it's funny you mentioned that. I'm actually probably going to end up sending a triptych of my Ghost Dance over on aluminum. Yeah, no, absolutely true. Great appreciation for heritage. Barbara's work, family genealogy, genetics, family history, landscape, any craftsmanship, anything ornate, anything like that is, they just, yeah, I mean, let's be honest, if we're looking at a commercial aspect, and that's probably what this will be, it'd be a nice little entry on your CV as well too, right? You know, group exhibition, Shanghai Artron, that's not small potatoes. And the really overall the potential to sell work, I really think this will be a great venue to sell.
The reason I mentioned a commercial component to this, Quinn, is I did quickly. I have 3 monitors going here while we're chatting, so I quickly went to the Artron Net site, and it looks to me as if it's all in Mandarin. I assume it's Mandarin, one of 47 dialects, I believe it is. But anyway, it looks to me to be driven or administered by Sotheby's, I think it was.
Yeah.
So that tells me it's very much a commercial venture.
Yeah, no, there's without question, you know, good, bad, or indifferent, however we want to look at it. I'll be honest here. We're dealing with the people. We're dealing with the people that are just now coming in to this idea of self-expression, coming into this idea of political freedom. You know, all kinds of things. So, you know, I'm not saying this in the pejorative at all. I'm just saying we're on very different cultural terms as far as how we think, how North and South Americans and Europeans and, you know, other people around the world think are very different than how they think in China right now. So pursuing it from a standpoint of it will be very much about the process. It just is there. I mean, we've got to baby step this along. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of Chinese artists that go right past that and get right to the core of the matter of personal expression and art and politics and religion and everything. But it's not on that massive scale. This is definitely a Sotheby's Artron kind of thing. Is going to be, yeah, it just screams commercial. So participate in it, whether it's fine art or commercial work, whatever you want to try to sell something, you just want a line on your CV, you want to expose your work to China, it's just a great opportunity. Believe me, guys, this is one of the first times that a group like this in a process can come into a country like this, like China, and do something like this. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. I'll say it. It's a big deal.
Thank you for that, Quinn.
Absolutely. My pleasure. I have got a packed day today, so I'm going to get offline here. It's 1300 Mountain Standard Time, or close to it, and I've got a lot of work to do today. I'd love to sit around and chat with you for a few more hours, but I think our time here has come to an end. I know they end abruptly and weird, but I'll try to ease us into this one before I click stop broadcast. Anybody have anything else that they say, don't stop now, Quinn, I got something to say?
Well, thanks, everybody. That was great. It was a great way to spend a couple of hours.
I couldn't agree more. And thank you for everyone. We get a regular panel in here now. We have a lot of viewers. We generate a lot of email traffic and talk. People watch these, like I said. So there's a lot of good knowledge dropped here. There's a lot of good information put out there freely and willingly by participants here on the panel. Yeah, this is the future. This is where we're going, and we'll make it happen. And we'll keep moving toward other opportunities in Europe, in Asia, in America. Here, we're gonna get it all going. We are a global community now, and we should act that way. Thank you, everyone. It's been wonderful. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.